Well, welcome everyone to another episode of King Reflections. I'm Daniel Oval, a graphic designer, personal trainer, and I'm the owner of Xander King. So last two episodes, I can't remember if I mentioned that I was going to talk about the 5 steps that have helped me, the 5 steps that I need to focus on to get me out of the bad, mental rut that I was in. So I've got a date here on the 2nd of the 1st, 2021. So I might have written this the 1st, and I've got that date because I had a post that I actually screenshotted from Jody Cooper on LinkedIn, and I'll just share that post afterwards. And it's more of a confirmation of the 5 steps that I was decided to take. But I'll just start from the top for what I started writing and give you some context. So the heading of this I actually wrote down was My People-Pleasing Dilemma and the 5 Steps I'm holding myself accountable to. And I realized that I was becoming very disheartened when certain people didn't like my content because I care about what they think. And, these people were, I deemed as good friends of mine, and they're going, oh, they're not liking some of my stuff. Like, am I doing something wrong? Am I not pleasing them? Like, am I not hitting the right notes for them? Maybe I should change my tactics so I actually get them to, or fish them to like my stuff. So I needed to let go of caring what they think and just focus on creating content that could help just one person. So change my focus on trying to please people and changing it to needing to help someone, or content that will help someone that is in a mental struggle at the moment. And I wrote down that I was currently trying to find the balance of not giving a poop about what people think because it paralyzes me mentally, emotionally, and eventually physically, and between wanting to please everyone, especially the ones I esteem higher than others, because I yearn for their support and validation. And it's taking its toll on me balancing these two, because one, I'm trying to not care about what people think because it does paralyze me. But also, on the other scale, is wanting to please everyone, especially the ones that I esteem higher than myself, and the ones that I do want to get their support and validation. And when I don't get that support and validation, it would, in a sense, paralyze me, because I'm going, okay, well, if I'm not getting their support and validation, I must be doing the wrong thing. But really, it needs to be not care about what they think, because it might not be for them. The content that I need to create might not be for them at all. And then I came up with these 5 steps that I've actually subconsciously been doing, not even realizing it, because I haven't gone back to this note continuously over and over again just to look at these 5 steps to make sure that I'm doing them. But I feel when I went back to this the other day and was like, okay, I'm going to record this episode, I should really check the 5, go over them again, and just check if I'm actually doing them subconsciously. So the first one is, I need to only esteem God's opinion and standard as supreme. I will boldly create content that magnifies his expectations and not his creation's expectations. And I've actually subconsciously done that. I've been listening to a lot more podcasts and audiobooks on God, and esteeming what is his expectations and standards of how I should be living my life, or how I should be projecting my life, or presenting my life in a sense. And just educating and spending time with him and learning about him and his ways and his guidance, if that makes sense. The second point was remind myself that I'm not failing at life if no one likes myself or my content or my opinion, and I'm not a bad person for having an unpopular opinion. And I feel like I've come to a peace about this as well, and like having this, I'm not a bad person, and having an unpopular opinion. We all have different opinions and different standards and expectations. It doesn't make us bad people if it's an opinion that's not excessively hurting anyone, or a way of life that's not hurting anyone. So I've had to find peace in myself that, I do have opinions that aren't the most, popular or most liked, but they're not hurting anyone. they're not forcing anyone to live a certain way, or, for them to reach my standards or expectations. So I'm not a bad person for having them at all. It's just high standards for myself and high opinions or, expectations that I've put on myself. And that's how I like to live my life. Third point was reminding myself that criticism and feedback are just notifications and signals of where those people are sitting on the energy line of victor and victim. And how can I help them improve and push beyond being a victim to becoming a victor? And probably a month prior before writing this, I had a conflict or disagreement with a friend about how I was presenting the brand. And it felt as if though they were upset of how I was presenting the brand, even though it's my brand. And they were worried that the reputation of the brand wasn't going to be, it was going to be torn down or disliked or pulled down. And I'm not afraid of my brand not being excessively favored or excessively liked if there is strong points of view that people don't like. It's not going to stop me from speaking what I feel is truth or right just because my opinions, again, like I said in the previous point, are not favored or not popular. So I felt the feedback that this person was giving me, you could tell they were on the victim mindset. And I'm there going, how can I help this person understand that the way they're thinking is putting themselves in a situation where they're going to always be paralyzed about other people's opinions and other people's standards and expectations? How can I free them to becoming a victor and overcoming that paralyzation? And it was as if they were trying to put that paralyzation onto my brand. And I'm there going, I can't sit on a fence and be paralyzed by what reputation I have for my brand. I need to push beyond the risks and just go for it. Sure, if the brand gets a negative feedback, that's okay. I can learn and adapt. And those people that do give the negative feedback, maybe the brand isn't for them, but it is hitting a nerve with people or the right people, because there are obviously people that do like my brand and do give me positive feedback of the great content that I'm bringing out, and they are appreciating it and liking it. The fourth point that I put down was it's okay to be floating without a friend foundation for a while. If friends don't want to chill or hang out with me, it doesn't mean that I'm not lovable. It just means I haven't found my people who vibrate at the same frequency as me. So prior to writing this, I did actually fall out of friendship with someone that I was really good friends with for quite a few years. And it got me thinking of how much I'm relying on this concept of friendships and how much I'm using them as anchors to keep a mental grounding. But after letting go of this actual friendship, I realized how much more peaceful it made me, knowing that I didn't have to have this obligation or this mindset that I needed a friendship or a constant friendship, that I need to have this soul rock sort of friendship where they were the ones that I bounced off for my ideas or the things that I was experiencing in life, or the one I had to talk to, sort of thing. Like, there are other, and I've always believed this, where you don't have just one close friend, you have multiple close friends, but you're all close on different sort of occasions or different types of concepts or whatever. Like, you relate to each one slightly differently. You can talk about one thing and talk about to another one about another thing, but you can't talk about those things to the other person, if that makes sense. So with some friends, I've got, spiritual friends, I can talk about spiritual stuff, but I can't really talk about sciencey stuff. Whereas other friends, I do have science friends that I can talk about sciencey stuff, but I can't talk about gaming stuff like that. Or, other friends I've got more that I can talk about mental strengths and weaknesses or mental struggles that I'm going with. Whereas other friends, I sometimes can't talk about that. So I have different friends and different areas of life that I can bounce off, rather than just having one sole friend. And releasing this friendship was like cutting a chain, I guess, and being free to realize in my mind that they are not the sole friendship to validate my existence, in a sense, that I had mentally chained myself to them. that was my doing. So I've come to this sort of floating mentality where I'm not chained to anyone or anything. I can float and not have a foundation or stability sort of thing that I can rest on. Like, yes, my relationship with God is that rock that I bounce back to, but friendships, I'm sort of just floating, swinging by each one, if that makes sense, and saying hello to each one as I pass by. And the fifth step that I have was continually pull myself up of where my focus is directed. So I need to stop solely trying to get certain people to like and comment and share my content. I've got to stop trying to please and tickle the ears of these people because it's going to bind me in a cage and others will miss out on my blessing for them. My focus needs to be drawn solely on myself creating. Whether it's good or bad content, I need to follow my gut of what to express. And what I put up in my content, it needs to what I feel is going to give value to the people that are the people that are viewing my content. And my aim is to put up content that a lot of people aren't going to see a lot of on social media, if that makes sense. So my goal is to put up content that is motivating and inspiring and bring value to people, wanting people to realize that they can achieve anything and they don't need materialistic things or superficial relationships to feel worthy or to feel happy. It starts from within themselves, and I'm going to produce that content that will prick their hearts to realize, they're the ones in control. They need to take responsibility for their lives and not allow or not think that they need someone else to do it for them. And it was quite funny. So back to the Jodie Cooper thing, I woke up, I think probably at 5:46 a.m. because I've got it here, 5:46 a.m. I woke up on the 2nd of the 1st this year. And I just randomly checked LinkedIn and came across this post, which is fitting for my current thoughts. And the picture that she shared was, when something is important enough, you do it, even when the odds are not favorable. And the caption that Jodie put was, it takes courage to step into something knowing that failure is a very real option. To do so is to know the true passion, to live with integrity and believe wholeheartedly that you can make a difference. When things don't go as planned, try to remember that failure is often an essential step on the ladder to success. And I felt it was just so fitting because with having a brand that's also sort of a movement, especially challenging people to take responsibility of their lives and not allow others to have that power to, control their lives. It's a bit risky when the things I'm going to probably say are probably not going to be exceptionally favorable or not exceptionally liked, especially when it's really challenging people's motives, values, beliefs, etc. And my friends that I do want their validation and them to like and share my content, they might not be on the same mental page or self-development path as much as I am. And that's okay. But my content is going to be for the ones that are on that self-development growth and they are wanting something different and something real and something that they can be like, you know what, I can do this. I can change the direction of my life. No one has that control except me. And also fitting about that post was in the picture when it says, even when the odds are not favorable, it just hit hard because this year is all about against all odds with the collection and theme that I'm running through for this year. So it was just fitting that came up right on time. Even though on the post it actually said 4 days ago that she posted it, but I saw it on the 2nd of the 1st. So it's fitting for this year. And for the current situation of letting go of that friendship. So it was really, you could say coincidence, but in my point, that's just God putting it out there for me. Anyway, that's just a little insight from me. As you can see, I still struggle with people, validation from my friends and people, and wanting people's approval. I guess that's something as a human we always will strive for, but it is a habit that we can unlearn and relearn a new habit to realize that we don't need people's validation or, approval to act on our core values or our core beliefs. And if they're not the most favorable, that's okay. It might be just a challenge for them that there's something personal within their lives that they need to overcome. And that we just got to keep doing what our gut, in a sense, is telling us to do. And my gut is saying, sometimes you're going to make mistakes. It's unavoidable, or it's inevitable. And sometimes you got to take those risks to make mistakes and to learn from them. Always be able to look at it and go, you know what, that was a mistake. I'm going to change my tactics so that next time that doesn't happen again. Or it's better applied, and it works better for people to receive it. And that's okay. It's completely okay to take risks, do what we think is right at the time, learn from those because it's actually not right at all, and make it better for next time. And there shouldn't be any judgment passed or criticism of condemnation, really, because we're all in this together. We're all trying our best to be better humans. We're all trying our best to be the best version of ourselves, and that's what it needs to be. Anyway, I hope you have a good day, King Up, and I'll see you in the next episode.